Prem Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. Siddharam everybody, and welcome to our third and final session of Ganesh Gyaan Yagna coming from the Sri Krsna Seva Ashram here in Hindustan village Princestown. For the past 2 nights we have delved into discourses from the Brahmavaivat Puran. Tonight being no different. We listened the first night where Lord Krishna is speaking to Nanda Baba about the reason why we don't look from a Hindu perspective. We don't look at the eclipse, but it had to do also with why Lord Shiva, he decapitates his son. Why did he take the head off his son in that Shipuran discourse of Lord Shiva throwing the Trishul? Where did that come from? And in that discourse, that first night, we saw via one katha, leading to another, how karma really is like a web, tying people, crisscrossing people, trajectories, their life path, as it were. What we think is an accident was predestined long time. We learned that, and we heard about Surya, Lord Shiva, and how that came to pass, that Ganesh Baba would lose his head. As Nanda is asking in that section, he says, isn't he the remover of obstruction? Isn't he the remover of obstacle? How is it that he couldn't help himself? And the explanation that Lord Krishna gives in that section is that it was foretold that because of the karma of Mahadev, he had to experience that. Then the second night we did, again, Krishna and Nanda talking about the reason for the lunar eclipse, and why in particular on the fourth night, in the bright half of the month of Bhadrapada, which is the Ganesh Jayanti, the beginning of the Utsav, why don't we look at the moon, the history, the shrap that comes with looking at the moon, what caused that, and what could happen if a person does look at it. And then we spoke about repeating this particular mantra, which I've shared in the Ashram's WhatsApp group. And if you would like that procedure, please message me, send a message on Facebook, or if you have me on WhatsApp, or if you're a member on the group, send me a message and you'll get that. Tonight, as we enter into our third and final discourse for these 3 nights, many people they could not get the opportunity to do Ganesh Utsav as normal, whereas there are people who went to the Ganesh Utsav and they got sick. COVID was spreading. It is spreading. Contrary to belief, COVID is not gone. It is just not the main topic anymore, or as much, because it is the main topic for where we have debt. It is the main topic where people are getting sick. So I myself decided that this year, being a different type of year, we're not going to do the normal in-person puja. And throughout these 10 days, we've been doing group worship, virtual worship, online satsang, so that our people could still worship, they can still pray. We've been talking about the history of Ganesh Utsav, where it started, why is it this way, why did they select Ganesh Baba? Because they do this for Durga Mata, they do this for Lord Vishnu in the Jagannath Yatra. They do it for different forms. In the Shravan month, when they told the Murti of Mahadev Baba in some parts to go and marry the Murti of Parvati Mata, that has a journey as well. But the Ganesh Utsav has become so big, basically because he represents the neutral part of all these sect of Hinduism. Some worship Devi alone, some worship Shiva alone, some worship Vishnu alone, but they all commonality, they all have a love, a certain respect for Pratham Puj Ganesh Baba. And for this reason, we emulate that type of peacefulness that is echoed in Gita, that the devotee of God has to be loving, forgiving, compassionate. And Ganesh Baba represents those types of characteristics. Tonight, every time I read Yagna, I make markings where I read, when I read, and I'm seeing here which temple 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 I didn't read for the Ganesh Utsav. I took a break. I said, let other Babas get a chance. 2020 we had COVID, and tonight in 2021, I'm going to read for you tonight a simple discourse, or last discourse, but a very important one. Very important. It is not as often, it is not often read. That's why I read it. The conversation between Ganesh Baba and Tulsi Devi. Chapter 46 of the Ganapati Khan, the Brahm Vaivat Mahapuran. Maybe next time we'll do Mudgala Puran, so that you can hear more of your Ganesh Baba. We must learn to hear what the text says and not the narrator's opinion. Blessings come from the words of God, and that is what we're going to follow tonight. Tonight we continue in discussing the secrets of Ganesh in his worship, in his puja. For the last few days I've been worshipping Hidamba Ganapati, also known as Panchmukh Ganesh. There are many forms that we're not familiar with, where he has 3 faces, 4 faces, 5 faces, 11 faces, 2 faces, just to name some. Ganesh Baba takes on different colors. When people have Mangal Dosh, they are very familiar with Kesariya Ganapati Puja. He's orange. When you're having a child, very violent, high-tempered, or even a husband or wife is high-tempered, maybe a narcissistic personality, and there's a certain amount of dogmatic behavior, Sindura Ganapati. Sindura Ganapati is correlated, it was created when, I believe that's Ganesh Puran, where Yudhishthira is listening to Lord Krsna about how to use Ganesh Baba to overcome your worries. Who's listening in that discourse? Yudhishthira is full of obstacles, and he goes to Krishna and he asks how to overcome it. And Ganesh Baba is described, the chout, using and we'll discuss it, I know we've talked about it before. Take rose petal in this month, chout, dip it in ghee, offer it in the fire, rock salt, offer it in the fire, different type of petals, different type of twigs. Every month there's a different ingredient. And these things were explained to Yudhishthira, and he explained to him about the history of bluegrass. Ganesh Baba engulfs Sindura, his demon, because if he touched his father, he would burn him to ashes. So when Ganesh Baba swallows him whole, the demon from inside starts to burn him, and Ganesh Baba turns red and he bawls in pain. And everybody starts to put the moon, they put the Ganga. If you ever wonder how Baal, Chandram, how does Ganesh Baba end up with the Chandrama, the moon on his head? But we talked about that last night. How does Lord Shiva, who has the moon, how does Ganesh Baba end up with the moon? If you ever seen that murti, this is why. His body starts to burn. So they put the moon on his head, they put the Ganga in his hair, and no help. And Durvasa Rishi comes and he puts the dog grass on his forehead. In this murti we have a Trishul. This, when, I don't know if Mummy Baba got the stencil for the Chandan. In India they don't put tikka only with fingers. In your finger, the right hand ring finger, the middle finger, the thumb, and you make a little Chandan Sakachura. In next finger, it has a benefit to each one. So a Guruji, sometimes when people go into battle, you'll see them put with thumbs like this. But in every finger, even the index finger, there's a benefit to it. And then sometimes they use a little stamp. I'll show you, I have one. They mix the chandan, they touch it, and they stamp it. This is representative of Mahadev. It shows that he's a follower of Shiva. The Trishul is his emblem. That's all. Tonight, as we enter into this discourse, we enter where Ashram had used the battle axe against Ganesh. In Shupran we hear about how Kartik hits a cuff against the tusk, breaking the tusk. But in Brahmavaivat Puran, Parashram lifts his battle axe given by Shiva against Ganesh, cuts the tusk. And we enter as that had happened, as it had finished. And now he's asking forgiveness of Ganesh Baba. So he took out flowers. He took out everything to adore him. But Narad Muni is listening to Sri Hari Vishnu about how Parashuram prepared to do Ganesh Puja with flowers, fruits such as guava, different type of sesame seed mixed together with jaggery and sugar, but no Tulsi leaves, no Tulsi flowers, no Tulsi twigs are offered. Because in his prayer, Tulsi is unacceptable. Please listen. Tulsi is unacceptable. This has nothing to do, as well, like I said, when we go, we'll hear about it. But for those of you that know about what I'm talking, it is to remind you. For those of you hearing this for the first time, please prepare to learn. Let's join our hands as we do invocation mantras as we get into our discourse. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadisevitam Kapeta Jambo Palachara Bhakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashkarakam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvata Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Prem se bolo Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai, Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. In doing Ganesh Puja, there are some rules that sometimes the typical person is not aware of. But we love Ganesh. And in order to win his blessing, as you will hear, you must do his puja correctly. After all, in Gita, it says that if you want sattvic puja, you must follow the scriptural injunctions that guide that vrat, puja, tapasya, dhyanam, in order to get optimum blessings. After all, if you go to a doctor today or to a pharmacist, you must have a proper prescription. And it will tell you, take the tablet in the morning after eating for 7 days and you will see change. But if you take it 3 times for the day, for 21 days, that same tablet could do damage. If it is not followed, the prescription is there to guide and protect you and I because of the power in that tablet. It could damage the power in the prayer, in that murti, in the mantra. It could damage. Many people end up in problems because they don't follow the rules. Think about somebody going into their altar room with a box of KFC. Imagine sitting by the baby with that. Just as you can imagine Punit Way yesterday. Just as you can imagine the consequence of that desecration. There are many examples of how we do that subtly. There are many ways we can affect the outcome of a prayer. Plenty of people say, I don't believe in prayers because I've been doing the prayers and I've never gotten the results. In all fairness, have you been doing it properly? People who migrate from our religion, our dharma, into other religion, sometimes you hear them criticize, Hinduism doesn't work. Did you follow the recipe properly? You want to bake a cake, you follow the recipe and you get the outcome. But if you want to get the right results, you want to get the answer to your prayers, but you don't follow the recipe, are you going to get the appropriate outcome? Are you going to get what you're looking for? You know what I mean? So if, I don't know if you can see this, I picked this up when I was in Bindravan last time. It's Hindi, it's written Radhi. So this is Chandan inside here. So what you do, they put Chandan, tikka like this on your forehead. And you'll get Hindi writing Radhi, you'll get Trishul, you'll get different emblems showing different devta, different temple, different puja. And it looks like a stamp. So these things do exist. Ganesh Baba, in his worship, certain things are to be done, certain things are to be abstained from. And one of the things that is abstained from locally, internationally, it is known that when you're doing his yagna, his puja, his Gyaan, his tapasya, that Tulsi wood, Tulsi flowers, Tulsi leaves are not to be used. So Narad Muni wants to know why, Prabhu. Tulsi leaves are something that you endorse. How come is it that we cannot use it in Ganesh worship? Why is that so? Let's hear what happens as we enter into our first slok tonight. Everybody. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Shrununada Vachayehati Ham Sampuratam Brahmkalpasya Vritayantaha Nirgunacha Manoharayate. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Sri Hari Vishnu says, "Oh Narada, I'm going to tell you the answer to your question. It is an ancient story. And it is an ancient secret. Please listen. This is a time long before the Tulsi plant existed. This is long before who becomes a Tulsi plant, Tulsi Devi, who gets married to Sudama when he gets cursed by Radha Devi, and he comes upon the earth as Shankachur, who goes to form the sun. Do you know the history of this sun? Why is it called Shankar? Shank. Why do we blow this? Why does Lord Vishnu have this in his hand? Milane Sudama ye. That same Sudama got such curse that he would be born as a demon, who is called Shankachur. This is a summary. That demon gets married to this Tulsi Devi later on in her life. And when it is time for Shankachur to be destroyed, the body now is there, he's dead. Lord Shiva is about to throw him into the fire. After he destroyed him, Lord Vishnu appears and says, no, that body is the body of my dear devotee Sudama. Throw that body into the ocean, and from his bones let all these seashells come. Seashells. And let's use seashells in puja to praise the sacrifice of my devotee. Wherever the shank from Shankachur, wherever the shank is bellowed, because of the body of my devotee, let it rid the place so long as it is heard of negativity, negative people. When people are doing Vasudhara Puja, how do you do it? This is where you put the gobar on the wall and you stick 7 seashells and you worship those seashells. When people have to fix the vastu in their home, and you see people having, when you add up the numbers, it adds to 9 the day after Diwali. And I know I'm talking about puja. They worship on the Bedi Lord Vishnu Murti, a seashell, and then they tie it in the voucher on this side of the house, and that is done for 5 years. But seashell after this moment became very important in the Hindu puja. Just like how you can't imagine doing a puja without a sang being blown. That Tulsi, her prayers is the cause of that. And we know how important it is to get Tulsi. You'll hear where that comes from, where does she get that blessing. We know that Tulsi discourse in Bhagavad deals with the formation of the Shaligram. Shaligram is that black stone of Lord Vishnu. That same Tulsi tells Lord Vishnu, your heart is cold as stone, you've stolen my husband from me, I always prayed for my husband, and now you've destroyed my husband. Your heart is cold as a stone, take the form of a black stone, I put shrap on you and come upon the earth, leave Lakshmi Mata in the heaven, and you separate yourself from your Dharmapatni, just as you made my Lord leave me. And he says, because of your chaste ways, I accept that. So we had the Shaligram, and then he told her that when I come as the Shaligram, you will come as the Tulsi plant. And wherever I am in the Shaligram, Tulsi leaves, flowers must be there. But when you think about it, question does come to your mind. If Tulsi Mata is so blessed, why isn't she Tulsi Devi? Like a Murti, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Durga. Why don't we have a Tulsi Mata Murti? Why is she in this form as a plant? When people build their homes and they build the Vendravan, which is this little tower, you see it in the courtyard in Indian movies in their homes, like a little pillar, they put mud inside, and on the top they put a Tulsi plant and they put a deer there. Why is she always a plant? Tonight this course will give you that history. And as you learn more and more of your Dharma, it will show you something tonight about Ganesh worship. Narad Muni says, once, long before Tulsi was married, Lord Vishnu is telling Narad, Tulsi is youthful and performing tapasya, reciting the name of Lord Vishnu as she had grown up doing this. But what does she learn from her mother? Her mother goes every day to the prayer room and prays, dear Prabhu, Shri Hari Vishnu, please bless my marriage, bless my husband, bless my husband. So one day, the inquisitive little girl, 5, 6 years old, if so much, says, Ma, how come every day you come and you only pray for daddy? You only pray for your marriage, but you never pray for yourself. And the mother says, right here, in our Dharma, a person is supposed to pray for their consort. Daddy's job is to pray for me. And as a woman doing my job as a wife, I will find mukti, liberation. Therefore, I pray for my home every day. I pray for my marriage every day. And I pray for the stability in my marriage and then the upliftment my marriage will give me to go to Golok, to go to Brahmlok, to go to Kailash Parvat, wherever my soul will go. So then the little girl says, so Mom, I'm a young girl, so I'm wasting time. I'm not married. She says, Mom, I want to get married. So the mother says, of course, babe. You're a little young yet. One day we'll get you married. And she puts her hand on the lingam, little Tulsi. She says, Mom, first boy that touches my hand, I'm going to get married. So the mother listens and she sees it. And she says, you know what? All the friends, all the maids, all the guards will become female. Nobody's going to touch her. And some time passed. Thinking the child forgot that thought. One day, Tulsi wants to go to the bank of the Ganga to pray. Let's hear what happens. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarva Sparsh Ganga Tira Saya Ganesham Yovanti Vatikam Ativa Sundar Shudhaya Sesham Yepita Sampatyate Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita. Principal Adi Shakti Mata Ki Jai. One day, the young girl dressed in yellow, and she tells her mother, I wish to go to the bank of the Ganga to do tira, to do prayer. Little baby girl, 5-6 years old. The mother says, go ahead. And as she's clad in this yellow clothing, plastered with sandal piece and other things, this young princess, she's wearing her gems and ornaments and all these things. She goes, and when she goes, she's talking to Ganga. What nobody knows, the prayer of this child is, Ganga Mata, send me a husband. My mother has said when a girl gets married and she's able to do her duties, she'll find liberation, she'll find mukti. But I am not so blessed to have a husband. Please send one for me. It so happened at that time, Ganesh Baba, as I just said, he's an incarnation of Lord Krishna. And funny enough, Ganesh Baba is sitting at the bank higher up, doing jap, Gyaan, dressed in blue. If you ever see a Ganesh Murti where he's in blue, this is reminiscent of this discourse. And he's thinking of Krishna, and he's praying that remover of birth, death, old age, all the sufferings, those things that bring about pain and trouble, the things that, as I said, we've heard in the last 2 nights. Why did I read that? It shows how we get entangled in, and you get yourself plaited up in karma. You get caught up and you get entangled in this matrix of karma, this web of karma. And he's praying and he's saying, Krishna, free me from this. Allow me to be free at all times, Prabhu. Bless me to come to you. Bless me to be with you. And the little girl is out down the stream, skipping stones, bouncing on the river, like a child, praying for her husband. And as she's saying her prayers to Ganga Mata, at the hand of it, what does she see when she looks up the river? Ganesha Sharanam Parama Pavanam Satya Sainam Gajananam Nityam Smaranam Parama Pavanam Satya Sainam Gajananam Ganesha Sharanam Parama Pavanam Satya Sainam Gajananam Nityam Smaranam Parama Pavanam Nityam Smaranam Parama Pavanam Satya Sainam Gajananam Ekadanta Kathaye Vata Varamutraye Karayanam Teja Dhyanam Mahabhaga Sakalaye Upatitetam Ganesha Sharanam Parama Pavanam
Satya Sainam
Gajananam Nityam Smaranam
Parama Pavanam
Satya Sainam
Gajananam
Sadguru Charanam Parama Pavanam Satya Sainam Gajananam Bhavagaya Haranam
Parama Pavanam
Satya Sainam Gajananam
Gajanana.
Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. This little chant is a side chant. I love it. Surrender to the feet of Lord Ganesh. Remember in Satya Sai Swami, that will bring the highest purity. Worship the feet of Ganesh. That destroys all the fears of crossing through this wall of karma, this samsara, death and birth, death and birth. Worship at the feet of the true Guru. Then become truly purified of the karma that is binding you and I. Tulsi Devi said, who is this Gajanand? Who is this person? Lambodhara. Gajanand is the one with the elephant head. Lambodhara is the one with the huge belly. And who is he praying to? You know, imagine yourself calling on Ganga Mata for a miracle, for something you're praying for. There's no way, because everybody around you is female. How will a male come? And then, poof, something appears. Beautifully decked. White looking fella. Dressed in a high color blue. Sitting at the side of the Ganga praying. Head of an elephant, human body. I've never seen anything like that. Sri Hari Vishnu is reciting the words of Tulsi. We've all gone through that phase where we're young and stupid and we see something, we fall in love. It could be good, it could be bad, but we fall in love nonetheless. This is her moment. She's wondering, what is he thinking about? How did he end up with an elephant head? Why is his belly so big? And she goes closer and closer to him and she's talking to herself as an innocent girl. She goes close to him and she says, oh virtuous one, oh Ekadanta, the one with one tusk, what is the reason for you being here? It is getting evening time. You should stop your dhyanam. He did not answer. Tulsi Devi, this rebuke as it were, where he does not answer, she laughs more and more, and it is as if her passion inside as a little girl is raising. Why? Because she thought Ganga Mata manifested a blessing for her. She prayed to Ganga a moment ago and something appeared that does not exist in natural world. God made this for me. This is my husband. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba Modiya. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba Modiya. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganeshasya Pradhan Anga Datta Kincha Jwalai Muni Jwalanta Tarjanaye Griyanani Standa Krishna Manasam. Jai Gananaya Shri Gananaya Ganapati Baba Modiya. Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. But he did not wake up. He does not stop. It is as if she is not standing there. She's not talking to him. He does not even twitch. He does not react. So she goes to the Ganga. And for those of you who've been into the Ganga, it's very cold. Although the water has traveled for some distance, the water is very cold at all hours. The water is cold. She dips her hand in that ice water, brings it, and she sprinkles that cold water on this unsuspecting praying person. Right where the third eye region, right where he has this trishul here, everybody. And she pushed him with the tip of the index finger. She pushed him like that, right here. Ganesh Baba, who was engrossed in the dhyanam, the prayer of Krishna, narrated this meditation. And whenever, if you've ever had the experience of somebody playing music or maybe loud talking, when you're trying to do your prayers, it's very painful. It irritates you. When they say painful, it distracts you. It breaks your solace. It takes away from the peace of the moment. prayers is supposed to be, according to yoga, it is supposed to be a calming experience. Whilst yes, we all have clapping and everything, it is not the goal of satsang and puja to be clapping like if you're in a gym or in a revival. It really isn't. That is not the way Hinduism works. This is not a carnival fete. This is not for you and I to be jumping and jumping and jumping. Actually, prayers, the satsang, the meditation, listening, doing japa, using the different intonations, the volume, is supposed to bring a certain amount of calmness, to invoke that form of relaxation, to open and to invoke a kind of meshing between you and the spirit of the super soul. And in that meditation, in that yogic practice, sometimes people do fall asleep. Sometimes you feel so quiet, so calm, so peaceful. This is how it's supposed to be. But now, when someone interrupts that peacefulness, some people get angry. And there are many discourses where the money or the sage put a strap on somebody for interrupting their prayer. Dhyanam tva kata hari smriti tva shapa shakti manin puraha navayoga manita samitata kama pindatam. Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Having been disturbed like this in the meditation of Lord Vishnu, Ganesh opens his eyes and he finds this young beautiful girl standing before him, very youthful, smiling innocently, being infatuated with passion. This is her husband. She's thinking all types of thoughts out of innocence. Lord Ganesh, who had controlled his senses, saw the innocence and he closed his eyes, peaceful in mind, ignored her without saying a word, and closed his eyes and went on. And she poked him again. She said, no, more cold water, more choke in the belly, pull in the ears, pull in the trunk, until Ganeshwar has to speak to her again. Oh dear Devi, oh damsel, who are you? Who is your father? Who is your mother? Oh auspicious one, tell me this. Did your father or your mother ever teach you it is a sin to disrupt praying people? To interrupt the tapasya of another individual will incur sin on you and your father. O virtuous one, just as the Lord, who I am praying to Krsna, bestows welfare, removes obstruction, but He is very forgiving. Be free of sin for disturbing my meditation, but don't do it. I'm hearing the words of Ganesh, the passionate Tulsi, the young girl who is becoming worked up because this is her husband. This is what she wanted. I got what I wanted. Tulsi announces, Pahi Pahi, Pahi Pahi, Gajanana, Parvati Nanda, Gajanana, Dharma Majas, Kanyayapi, Hamprodacha Tapasvini, Tapasyameva Swami no Arth, Twa Swami Twayame Prabhu. Pahi 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 Gajanana, Parvati Nanda Gajanana. Tulsi Vachana Shrunu Ganesha Shri Hari Smarana Tuma Vacha Mahapraga Pragin Madhure Giri Giri Ye Matar Ye Pahi 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 Gajanana, Parvati Nanda Gajanana, Ekadanda Gajanana, Ekadanda Gajanana,
Pahi pahi Gajanana Parvati Nanda Gajanana.
Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. Tulsi says to him, a great one, you who deserve honor. Listen to these sweet words, Mama Gai words. I am the daughter of Dharamputra. I am youthful. I am youthful. I am of a great lineage. I am a Sati Kush Dwaj, Dharam Dwaj, the parents of Tulsi Mata, and the brother is where Lakshmi Mata had come from. Devi Bhagavad Puran is where that would be found. I am performing tapasya here at the Ganga for achieving and acquiring a husband. Therefore, ready yourself. Oh strange looking being, ready yourself. You are about to become my husband. Make ready, you are going to marry the princess. You're so lucky. On hearing the words of Tulsi, the intelligent Ganesh, whilst reciting the name of Vishnu, still doing his job, spoke to this very intelligent Devi. He says, dear Devi, it is terrible for me to accept a spouse. I am therefore not interested in marriage. After all, marriage, no one gets pleasure, but it is a way for pain. Could you imagine Ganesh Baba is saying this? By doing one's devotion towards the Lord and then stopping to get married, it is as if you're walking away from the Lord. Your devotion is interrupted, your tapasya is disrupted. The door to salvation is closed on such a person, as the person now becomes more entangled in worldly affairs, more and more karma, as I mentioned before. Therefore, think about it. Then it gets worse. When a husband and wife come together, one day pregnancy will come. And that is the ultimate loss of knowledge, tattva, resulting in increase in doubt because you lose your energy. The storehouse of pride and the box of illusion, pregnancy. It is a bundle of courage to endeavor into, and it causes a heap of sin. Why is he saying this? When you get married, you have to become indebted to that person. You have to take care of that person. You have responsibilities. You have children, and then you have to live and mind and grow and fixate on their development, not your development, to God. Therefore, virtuous one, you return and search for another person. Somebody who is a passionate husband, because only a passionate husband can marry and fully satisfy a passionate lady. Somebody who wants to get married should marry somebody who wants to marry. Tulsi is not happy to hear this. Imagine you told me when you light India, that is your way to God. I believe that when I offer my dar, I will go to God. I believe when I do my search Quran on a Sunday morning, like tomorrow morning, I will go to God. I believe that when I light my diya, I will get the blessings to go to God. That's your, let's say, your religion. Suppose somebody like me now comes and says, you see that way doing it? That is utter garbage. That is stupidness to the highest accord. It is the worst thing to light that diya, offer that dar, anything you're doing. The person immediately gets defensive. And maybe that's what happens to some people when people ill speak of dharma or religion. Maybe they start to feel as if you're attacking and you're in some way you're breaking it. But know that when you react badly, you are attacking your own dharma. People can say what they want. It is eternal and it has stood the test of time. And the ramblings of one person who is ignorant is not going to bring down the entire dharma. But when people who follow the dharma let down their dharma and they don't do the right thing, as we're going to hear just now, that breaks your dharma more than any other person, any invader could do. When you let down your dharma, consider it. Tulsi is telling this young girl brought up in a home where she sees her mother praying every day, God bless my marriage, God bless my marriage. In doing my marriage correct, I will find my God, I will find my Prabhu, I will go to God, I will get liberation. And then this elephant-headed massive man comes and says, that is garbage. That is where a person finds sin. Tulsi Devi, the young girl, felt very attacked. She felt smited and she got angry. And she says, I am going to put Shra on you. You have ill spoken against my beliefs, and you have spoken out of turn. And for that, oh demonic individual, I am going to give you Shra. Don't you see how beautiful I am? Can't you look at my body and see how attractive I am? How can you say marriage to me would be a sin, a life of hell, etc.? For this reason, O Ganesh, you are afraid to get married. I put Shrap upon you that you are going to become the daughter of all the weddings. Have you ever gotten a wedding invitation and on the cover you see Ganesh Baba or elephant? Now ask your Baba, what mantra do they say when they're blessing the rings, blessing the Mangal Sutra? All these things, Ganesh mantra. When they are doing the neuta or the yellow rice that we give at the invite, in the card we still see it. That yellow rice is blessed with the mantra of Ganesh Baba. When we're doing Dwar Puja, for those people that have the karma, the blessings to do proper wedding, when we're getting ready on the wedding day to come into the property with the Dolaha on his side, and Dwar Puja is the fancy word for Ganesh Puja. He became integral in the blessing of everything. And he smiled and he took the shrub. And let it be so. Then she says to him, you are afraid of what one girl will do to you. You will get entangled and all this thing. You will lose your soul. You will become so entangled into the vices that you will not be able to free your soul. I believe by doing marriage correctly, by doing my dharma, by doing my duty, I will find liberation. Which is also true. She says, I put Shrap upon you. Please listen to this. You will not get married to one, you will get married to two girls. Have you ever heard from Shukran about where when we were small, we used to hear the story about how where he walked around his mother and father and they got him married to Riddhi and Siddhi. This is where it came from. He smiles and he accepts the Shrap. From that day, Ganesh Baba, in many of his forms, even if you go to make Murti like in Mendez and South Trinidad, they will make a little mini Riddhi and Siddhi, or wherever he is. In different forms, he's seen with one, Pushti, which is another name for Riddhi, where she's in the Matrika form, Tushti, which is another name for the Siddhi. Sometimes he's with one, sometimes two, in the different forms that he has. So, in the Matrika, when we do puja on the Bandara day for the 16 forms of mother, the daughter-in-laws of Lord Shiva in side at 16. Tushti and Pushti are the two wives of Ganesh, and Shashti is the wife of Skand or Kartik. And the three of them are in that 16 mothers that we do worship for. And we're asking them to please be calm. Please do not cause subsequent death. Do not cause trouble in my home. Allow this place to be clean and free. This is where all that originated from. Ganesh Baba now turns to her and he says, dear one, pleasant one, now it is time for me to teach you a lesson. Now it is time for me to give you Shrap based on what you just did. He says, anytime a person acts crudely, rudely, and they are advertising their body, nakedness, their flesh, their form, to win the allure and the attraction of others, there is going to be repercussion for this type of answer, for this type of action. Before we continue, What do you think about that point? Anytime you advertise your body, there's going to be repercussion. The modesty that is shown in Indian culture, traditionally, now is a different game. The tradition of that modesty came from somewhere. This is one of it. The other place you will see this is in Grand Manjani. Ganesh Baba, this form that is, as I said at the beginning, he's integral with the Devi worshipper, the Shiv worshipper, the Vishnu worshipper. Everybody loves him, but he stands for something. He addresses modesty, most important. And we'll hear about it now. What do you think? Send me a message tonight. Do you agree with that? Do you think we've lost our modesty? Do you think as Indian women, has the Indian woman gone so far that there's no hope of returning? The other day I was talking to one of my good friends. And I remember when I was growing up, and at the time Kanchan and Babla would have been popular. And in that time, you grew up seeing how people would dance. Your grandmother would go to a funeral wearing her orni with a little pen and brooch here. Those days are gone. The way people would dance, the way women would dress. We heard about rape last night. But there's more to that story, as I said. And we must retain some decorum of modesty. You see, many people, if I ask you tonight, are you a lover of Ganesh? Did you have you ever gone to see the Visarjan of the Ganesh? Yes, Baba, I do miss it. Every year we go by the beach and we have to see it and we have to take part. And so night and third. Do you follow his teachings? Yes, I do regularly, Baba. You better get big. Very good. Nothing wrong with that. Do you practice modesty? Last time we heard about the problem with the moon. Do men respect women? If you're a follower of Ganesh, do you respect women? Do you abuse women? Do you rape women? But I love Ganesh. For the women, based on our topic here tonight, nobody says you can't dress up nice. I'm not saying that. It is your body and you are allowed to dress. I'm not saying nothing along that line. I'm talking about the lewd dressing, the inappropriate dressing. Where are we going as a people when we lose that modesty? This is what he's going to talk about here. That's what he says. He says, when you use your body to allure, when she says, look at my frame, look at my body, look at my bosom. How much bosom you got? 5 years old, anyhow. But look at my form, look at my figure. You should want to marry me. When you did that, and you did it to get the allure, to get the attention of myself as a male, you created sin. When you parade your body, what is the karmic reaction? Go. Just as elders would give you shrap, I am giving you shrap today to be formed as a tree. Remember the question at the beginning. If Tulsi Mata is so blessed and blessed, why is she in the form of a tree? Please listen. Just as Nala and Kumara, when Krishna is born, sons of the Ashram and Kumara who had went and bathed naked, and they gained that shrap to be in the form of a tree. There are many examples of this, of a tree forming as a result of nakedness. Always nakedness. Nakedness is the problem. Whether male or female, the rule applies. And he tells her, because you paraded yourself in this way, in your next janam, it will happen that you will become a tree. And stop talking. Tulsi Devi becomes immediately aware of the shrub. Starts to cry. Humbling herself now, drops herself to his feet and realizing that I have made a mistake and I should not have angered you. Oh beautiful elephant head, Deuta, please, if you put me as a tree, how will I be able to come out of that form? I can't do worship, I can't do charity, I can't do good. please bless me, forgive me, but don't let me go in that form. Ganesh Baba says, "O pleasant one, I have been sitting here worshipping Krishna. And he is the one who is the most merciful. Priya Tvaya Sarvadevanam Shri Krishnayasya Visheshatam Putaye Vimukta Daninam Maya Bhoga Nitya Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai Umapati Mahadev Ki Jai." Ganesh Baba says, in that time when you become the plant, Krishna will accept you. He is the one who accepts all. He takes all. That Lord is most loving, most forgiving, most nurturing. Your leaves will be used in His worship. Your flowers will become the best flowers to offer to Krishna. So for this reason, when you're doing Bhagavad, they take the flower on the Tulsi plant and they tie it. And you will see like a ring of Tulsi, the head of the flowers. It smells very strong when so much is brought together. And it is offered on the Murti of Krishna, especially when you're reading certain discourses. He will love you. When people are doing Antishti Sanskar or Havan, depending on the purpose of the Basma, like if when you're closing Bhagavad, Govardhan De Puja, the dried Tulsi plant, when it dries on its own, you cut it up about 3-4 inches and you use that branch. In Puja, you use it in Sanskar. And the ashes that come from that, it uplifts. So speaking, Ganesh says, you go and become that plant, and in serving the Lord, in being in His Seva, you will not only be used in His Puja, but without you present in the prasad, in the offering, it will never be complete. It is only when you put the Tulsi in Krishna's prasad or any other devta, the article that is being offered is considered to be purified by the presence of this person. Tulsi is still crying. He says, but because of this interaction, you will, and please remember this part, you will never be welcomed in my puja. For this reason, till this day, if you're doing Ganesh Yag, if you're doing the Chauk Vrat, if you're doing installation of the Ganesh Murti, please remember it if you're planning for next year to do your worship. If the Baba is facing north and you have the Bedi, the Havan at the end, you have Chau Sat Yogini, the triangle. You will do Saptarishi Puja. You will not do Tulsi Puja. And then your lingam is here in terms of the layout. She's not done. Her worship is not to be done in Yagna. Else the Yag is considered to be contaminated. It is not pure. It is not perfect. Tulsi Mata takes that. He picks up himself to go to the Bhadrika Ashram. He leaves there. Tulsi, on the other hand, she goes back to Pushkar, where she's performing Gyaan, where she's praying. And at the day now, after that Dhyanam, Shankachuri hits her with the chariot and they eventually get married. O Narad, because of the curse of Ganesh, O best of sages, Tulsi remains the wife of Shankachur for a long time. And thereafter, when Shankachur is destroyed with the trident of Shiva, Tulsi became devoted to Lord Vishnu, and in due course, she was turned into this shrub, into this tree that we know today. I heard this discourse from the lips of Dharma himself, and now this discourse is narrated to you, O Nar Muni, which provides salvation. Thereafter, Ashram, adoring Ganesh, Shiva and Durga, adored them accordingly. In the offering to Ganesh, no Tulsi leaves, no Tulsi flowers is used. For this reason, have you ever gone to prayers? I remember when I was young and we used to help in and fix up for prayers. And we want, everybody want to mix the panchamrit for our own purpose. And we want to mix the panchamrit with lifting the Tulsi to drop it in. And she will always say, no, let the Baba do that. Don't put that Tulsi. Today let me explain why. As a pandit, when we go to the baby and we offer the first spoon of panchamrit, goes to Ganesh, right? No Tulsi. And when we finish offering to him, then the Tulsi comes in for everybody else. He says it here, that you will become the emissary, the worker for all other devatas except for myself. For this reason, even if you are doing Tarpan, which is coming next week, when you're offering the water, the Tilanjali, Tulsi has to be in that water. She's important. Important. If without her, the puja can't be complete. The offering is not as sattvic. But do not use her in Ganesh Puja. And this is why. Ashram is the person who caused this entire conversation, because he had done Ganesh worship where he had offered the gova. And just as we do in Nandi Mokshrad, where we are making the pinda from the pulp of the fruit, he had made laddu from the gova, what we would say is gova jam. And he had packed it with sesame seed and rolled it into balls. He made bundi laddu and different type of delicacies, carrot halwa and all these things that are offered in Ganesh Puja. This carrot halwa is like, imagine you make carrots and it have other ingredients, but imagine we take pag and we take carrot and we mix it together so it gets gummy as it gets cold, and you make laddu like pinda, and it is offered for different purposes. Devi Ma is offered the Tulsi. Somebody once asked me, is Lord Shiva offered Tulsi? Yes, Lord Shiva is offered Tulsi. The shrap that came here is only from Ganesh. So when you're doing your Ganesh Puja, your Ganesh Vrat, your Ganesh Murti, your Ganesh Stapan, your Ganesh Visarjan, and I'm reading this tonight knowing that full moon is on Monday, so in case tomorrow you're closing off and you want to do your procession Sunday night into Monday, whatever have you, some people do it tonight into tomorrow because of the convenience of the weekend, that's left to you. But the Anant Chaturdasi is the last day, and that's tomorrow, last night. So on the full moon day, which is on Monday, it's done. Which day you choose, when you're going to do your Visarjan, in whichever location, remember Tulsi Mata is not to be included because of this. His prasad is made separate. His prasad is offered separate. Just as there are rules when we're doing Shiv Baba, remember that discourse, Shiv Nirmalayam, where Parvati Mata puts Shrap on Lord Shiva, and whatever you offer by the lingam, you leave it there. When people do Shivratri and they sing all the different sweets and they're dribbling, but you go to temple and you see people put it and you don't chuta that. Whatever is offered by a lingam, only the worst of the worst grieves. So what is Shiva's one? The person whom is knowledgeable of worship knows what you give to him leaves there. It remains there. But when you give something to Mahavishnu, you take out some, you allow him to have that, and it balances because it is considered prasad. It is touched by him. Then everybody else who tastes that prasad will get blessings. His worship is different. In a similar way, when you are prepared properly to do this Ganesh Puja, thus the person who listens to Ganapati Khan of the Brahmavaivat Puran gains the merit of if they have done Raj Suya Yagna with the grace of Ganesh. The person who wants to have sons will have sons. The one who wants to have valor, patience, riches, virtue, long life, glory, intelligence, the ability to become eloquent or poetic, the best of those who wants to control their senses, that person attains these goals. He gains immense riches so that he could give charity to. Great nobility, praiseworthiness. He attains Vaishnavism. Merciful, possesses great amount of knowledge of the Tattva and the Brahman. Adoring Ganesh Baba with devotion, with garments, ornaments, one should listen to Ganapati Khan of this text. Whosoever does so, even the most barren woman, that woman would be able to conceive and have a son. O Brahman, the lady who gives birth or has miscarriages to dead children is totally barren. Even that lady can conceive. The lady who blames other women The lady who has a blemished character is relieved of that sin. And with that sin now being lifted, she too can have children. The merit one earns from simply listening to Brahmvaivat Puran, the same merit is achieved by listening to the Ganapatikan, by that person who gives worship to Ganesh and listens to the Ganapatikan. That person is able to achieve whatever they desire in their mind. That person is bestowed with the fulfillment of desires by Sri Ganesh Bhagwan. On listening to the Ganapatikan, one should give away in charity the Yagyapavit or the Janeo, white umbrella, a rosary, sesame seed, balls, sweet balls, and fruits of the season. Not only laddu. The one who recites this discourse gains the blessings of the removal of all obstructions. Whatever is blocking such a person who reads this text, those hindrances, those obstructions must go. Prem se bolo Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. Let's do a little chant before we conclude tonight. Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha 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 Shri Rama Sharanam Sharanam Shri Rama 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 Ganesha Sharanam
Sharanam Ganesha
Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha. Prem se bolo Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. When Parashram, in this short prayer here, I'm going to read this stotra as our blessing, as our Ashirvad part. Ganesh Mikandam cha Hiramba Vegyanaka Kamalambodhara Suparnaka Gajavaktaram Guhagraha Janam. He who is known in Isambir as Ganesh Ekadanda Hiramba Vinayaka Lambodhara Suparnaka Gajanana Bhuyaha Graha, these names we bow to him. When he is called Ganesh, the Ga stands for knowledge, the Ne stands for the Redeemer. He is the one who is the Lord of both redemption as well as knowledge. He is called Ganesh, and as a result I bow to him. Eka Shabda Pradhanatha Dantaksha Bhala Vachakha Bala Pradhanaham Sarvasam Deka Danta Namamyaham. The Ek stands for principle. Danta means the strength. Therefore, the one who is the foremost of valorous persons, Eka Danta. I bow to him. Dinartana vachave hi yascha ramba palaka vachana palakaha nikala lukanam hi ramba pranamamyam. The Panchmukh form, he has 5 heads. For those of you who have been doing puja with the ashram all week, he stands for the poor. Ramba means the protector of the poor, but that poverty, and I'm stopping right here, that poverty does not mean only money. For those people that are wishing they could have peace, for that person who wishes they could have health, for that person who wishes they could have companionship, for that person who wishes to be a parent, for that person who wishes, yes, for finance, poverty, that starvation that you have in your life. Hiramba is that 5-headed form that simulates in Murgala Puran. When Lord Shiva has his 5-headed form, Ganesh manifested his 5-headed form to follow his father. I'll do that discourse for you next year, don't worry. God bless you, you'll live to see it. Blessed is the person who prays to him, that whatever the poverty is, you will be able to rise above it by his grace, and you'll be able to have your heart's desires. Tonight, as I conclude, for another year, we've done diligence and discourse, and I hope and pray that I've done justice in these 3 nights in teaching you different discourses, that I have done my duty as teacher, and I've given to you pieces and excerpts of information that explain why Ganesh has 2 wives, that explain why Ganesh Baba got the role as he does have in all the wedding, of all the sanskar. He's very important in the wedding ceremony. Why is Tulsi Mata a shrub? Why a shrub? Maybe you don't understand. What's the linkage? Guru Brand says, when you want to parade your body and you want to say, look at me, look, I have all the things that God gave me and I'm showing, I'm displaying, I'm showing you everything, and all the mango and all the pawpaw is showing. Guru Brand Vishnu says, Yamran says, okay, you want to live like that? Go be born a tree. Go be born a pawpaw, a coconut, mango tree, where you will spread your hands wide as the branches, and all your fruits, both male and female. In reference to the Nalan Kubara discourse with Krishna, males can become trees as well. You need both male and female for cross-pollination, except for the pawpaw maybe, that's a different story. Where a male could become female and a female could become male, that's a different thing. But this is why. This is why she's that plant. And it does not negate her validation in different texts that she will bring upliftment. She brings upliftment when you offer her worship, in worship, when you worship her, when you do prayers to her, when you walk around Tulsi Mata, she does cut your karmic load. That is there. But there's a reason why he is not involved in her worship. And this is why. Tonight, as I conclude, put your hands together and let's just say a quick prayer before we conclude. Prabhu, for the last few days, devotees have been sharing the from Narayan, the Nam Stotra, Sankatna Ashram Stotra, which says that blessed is the person who can share it in writing form, share it for other devotees to pray, to use it to read. So we've been sharing it on all forms of media so that many other people can benefit from it. And we thank you for that, Prabhu. Blessed are those that will chant it. Tonight, after listening to another karmic tale that shows the linkage between my activities of how I can be born a Devi, so qualified to see God in the Ganesh form, and then because of the lack of modesty, fall from grace and become a tree. This is how Gerbrand explains, Prabhu, how God knows when He takes out the soul from this person, He puts them in a rat, a cat, a tree. How does He know which one to put in the tree? This is how He knows. Today I understand that. And I have a greater understanding of Tulsi Mata. I understand why we do certain things. And for those that are doing yagya or puja or tapasya to Ganesh Baba, I understand what needs to be out of the prayer. I understand that we offer Tulsi to the lingam, to Lord Shiva. There is no contradiction. I thank you for this. Let's pray to Lord Krishna as we do our final slok before we conclude. Om Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langati Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mandeo Paramanandam Madhavam Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum Gita Ganga Gayatri Sita Satya Saraswati Brahm Vidya Brahma Valdi Tri Sandhya Mukti Gehini Ardhamata Chirananda Bhau Agni Bhayanashini Vedatray Parananta Tattvarata Gyana Manjari Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Together everybody, as I bring the curtain down on this yagya, it was a pleasure again reading for you. Reading for you. Mummy Baba, stick to it. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Parambuha Pravakshami Gyananna Gyanamuktamam Yajjatvam Muniya Sarve Param Siddhimito Gataha Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. He says, O Arjun, this is chapter 14, first verse. I shall expound once more in the supreme knowledge, the best of all knowledge, acquiring with which all sages have attained the highest perfection, being liberated from this mundane existence because of the knowledge of Krishna Bhagavan. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Everybody, it was truly an honor to read this 3 nights Gyaan here for you. I hope you have gained some insight into your worship, into the understanding of karma and how it works, and some of the things that we do by worshipping the Tulsi plant, staying away from the eclipse of the sun, the moon, listening that Ganesh Baba has an elephant head because Lord Shiva cut off the head. It shows just how strong, how dynamic the web of karma is. Let's conclude. Ganesh Baba, tomorrow is our last day. Ananta Chaturdasi, my advice, get up in the morning. And if it's just a little arti, if you don't have any special plans, get up and do a little arti for him. Offer a little dara, pray to the sun, do something. Don't let it pass you like that. Too many people are dying from COVID. Too many people are having problems. And if you are good, why throw away the opportunity? Dear Lord, we thank you for tonight, and we thank you for all those viewing. Prabhu, bless them. Bless them. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Chasaka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Everybody, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Prem Samalomapati Mahadeva ki Jai. Bhavanaputra Hanuman ki Jai. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai. Jai Jai Sitaram. Sitaram everybody. From me and Priya Mata here at the Ashram. God bless you. Enjoy your Anand Chaturdasi tomorrow. Until we get to do it again a year together. I hope you enjoy all that we are putting out for you here at the Ashram. God bless you and God bless your family. Be safe. Please be safe. Enjoy your Pitru Paksh. Next week, if you would like to join with us, we have plans to do Tarpan, virtual puja, but Tarpan offerings are going to be done. Reach out, send a message. Tonight, I would like everybody to like the satsang if you enjoyed it. Leave your comment telling me what you thought about it. Did you hear this discourse already? Like, as I said, I've been reading it nearly every year. Share it with somebody who may not know. Let them learn, let them benefit, and God will bless you for that. If you're watching on the replay, still leave a comment. Please, still share the satsang. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, and you'll know when we're doing more. God bless you. God bless each and every one of you from me and prayer. Till next time, Sitaram. Bye-bye, everybody. Good night. Sitaram.